streaming. Start streaming. Okay, let's see here. Okay, all right. We're live in another episode of BS Busters. Thank you for joining us. Kanoshi, anything you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, sir?
That's my Kanoshi Abamanito. Glad to be here on another one of these BS Busters.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. It's me, Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. We didn't have one last week because I was busy moving some heavy things and strained my back. I could not get out of bed. But I'm feeling better this week. I'm on a like 4 aspirin, so I'm not feeling much anything right now. So that being said, it's me, Mr. Red Fox, owner proprietor of BS Busters. Before we go any further, sir, what have you been playing?
I haven't really been playing much of anything this
Ah,
last couple for a while. I've been playing. I was playing Metaphor. I need to get back to that. Um,
all
see,
right.
I also plan on picking up a new Mario and Luigi game at some point.
Brothership.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I
that's
plan
about
on
it.
getting that. I've gotten like 3 Switch games this year, and I haven't played any of them. Like, I just bought
Uh,
them. I got the
I
special
have a real
edition
problem with
for Unicorn Overlord. What?
yeah, I have a problem with picking up games. Like a lot of games. Well, not a lot. I didn't get a lot of games this year, but
But you haven't played them yet? Or you just kind of
yeah,
played them a little bit?
played them
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah.
I've been getting shit on sale off of Steam. Like, I got Dragon Age the Veilguard. Because I was like, I'm going to see if this game is as bad, is not good.
Was it pretty bad?
I played it for about 20 minutes, left the
Yeah.
opening cutscene where you're inside of a bar, and walked out the door, and I was like, oh. And then something came up, and I was like, I'll come back to it later. I mean, like, I haven't played enough of it to form an opinion yet, but if it's as long as it's better than Dragon Age Inquisition and Dragon Age 2, I'll say something, but I haven't played enough of it to really have a to formulate an opinion yet. So, I'll have to wait. The game I'm really looking forward to comes out tomorrow, and that's Dragon Quest 3, the HD 2D version. Um, I also bought some old shit. Like, I got Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart. I got Retropolis, which is a city builder game where your tower defense game where you basically uh, you're these mice who build this city that you have to defend against ever increasing waves of enemies, up to 30 waves, and each like 5 10 waves a boss pops up that is much stronger than the enemies you've been facing, that can like one shot your walls and kill some of your more powerful units. But really, I've been on a hey, they're remastering old games. I'm gonna buy this game because I didn't get it when it came out. Like, I got Shadows of the Damned, hella remastered. I got Lollipop Chainsaw Repop. I just been getting a lot of like old games where I'm like, I never got that when it came out, or I was planning on getting it, and now I'm like, I'll get it now. Why the hell not?
Yeah, that's it. That's good. I might pick up Steam Deck OLED if it's on sale during the Christmas sale this
What, the
year.
white one?
Yeah, on Steam. Yeah.
Yeah, my Steam Deck, I primarily stream to my smart TV, so me having an OLED display doesn't really help me. It's like, oh, it's a
Yeah.
better screen. I'm not watching it on that screen anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, um, so the topics we have for tonight are varied. We're going to talk about Nintendo suing Pal World over 10 million yen. But let me do the dollar conversion for that. $67,000.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not a lot of money. That's really not a lot of money. I mean, I could pay that if I wanted to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, we're gonna talk about Sony saying "Masters of the Obvious" right there. Hey, we should have gotten more feedback before launching Concord. Uh, in other news, water is wet, fire is hot, and syrup is indeed sticky.
Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles X. We'll also cover a topic where someone says 10 changes they want to see in the definitive edition of Xenoblade Chronicles X. 8 open world games that deserve a sequel that didn't get a sequel, but it would be good if they did. And we'll our last topic will be official article topic will be the Wii U gets the last laugh.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let's get started with the Power World thing. So yeah, Nintendo is suing Power World. This isn't new news. This is something that people have known about it, and they're suing them for $67,000. Um, Now here's the thing. It basically they're functionally saying that Power World was released in 2024, but these patents that they did were just ratified this year after Power World came out, but they're claiming that they're connected to some shit that came out in 2021.
What was the problem?
They're claiming, even though the patents that they're ratifying, that they're suing Power World about, were ratified, they were registered this year. In Japan, you can connect patents, later patents, to a original root patent, which they're saying came out in 2021. Nintendo is making that assertion, which
Oh.
is still kind of like stupid to me. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but that seems a bit shady to me.
Yeah. Nintendo, just like every other corporation, doesn't like competition.
Yeah, but Power World isn't competition. Power World does something that Pokemon doesn't do. For one thing, early on in Power World, you know how in the first episode of Pokemon, the cartoon, like Ash tries to catch a Pokemon with a stick, like he tries to beat it with a stick in order to get a Pokemon. You
Yeah.
can actually do that in Power World. You
Yeah.
you can beat the shit out of a pal and catch it that way if you so chose. Which is kind of like I'm like okay, all right, okay. You can also enslave other human players. Human NPCs in the game. Matter of fact, how you can upgrade your personal character, you can level up, but you can also capture human characters, and then using the synthesis machine that works on pals also works on NPCs, so you can synthesize uh, other NPCs into your character in order to boost your stats that way higher than what the level cap would suggest. Something that Pokemon doesn't let you do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of innovations that Power World does that Pokemon just, they're two completely different games. The only thing that they have in common is that there's monsters that you can capture and do shit with. But aside from that, I mean, if Nintendo went after every game that did that, then Atlas could go after Nintendo for that, because Atlas came out with Shin Megami Tensei, which has you capturing monsters and using them to fight for you.
Yeah.
That seems a bit stupid to me. But, like I said, I'm not a lawyer. it just seems a bit strange. But what are your thoughts on it? Agree, disagree, don't give a shit?
Well, nah, I don't really. I just. I'm not really. I'm just not really sure. I just hope I just hope this game doesn't get shut down. That's my hope.
Yeah, I hope that I mean, in a perfect world, I would say if Nintendo, if they do take it all the way to court, that Power World wins, because Nintendo, like this scene. Okay, like I said, disclaimer: I am not a lawyer. I've taken some pre-law courses. I'm not a lawyer. Here's what I'll tell you. This seems like Nintendo is just basically saying, "Hey, this is what it seems like to me. We weren't innovative to come up with these concepts, or we weren't quick enough. Not Nintendo, but and Pokemon Company. We weren't quick enough to put these ideas into a game. Therefore, someone else did it by happenstance. Okay, because it wasn't a leak. It was like these are common sense things that people want in a Pokemon game that you aren't providing. Someone else did it, and it's not a Pokemon game, and you're suing them because they beat you to the punch in putting it to the market."
Yeah.
That scene, that's like, I mean, this is the equivalent of Nintendo getting mad at a guy. Like it's like Nintendo being in Pokemon Company being two dudes who get angry at another dude who asked out a girl they wanted to go with that they never asked out or talked to,
Yeah.
and now they're salty about it. It's like, well, you shouldn't. It's like, no, you didn't ask. You didn't shoot your shot, so why should I care what you think?
Yeah.
That's basically what's been going on, at least to me. And it seems like they're kind of like, oh, well, you did this, and you took our patent. It's like, well, first of all, you have to prove you infringed on our patent. First of all, you have to prove that there was an intent to infringe on your patent. Second of all, you have to prove, at least in U.S. court system, you have to prove that there was intent. You have to prove that there was malice of forethought. You have to prove that they somehow had access to the information with your patent. And it just doesn't. It just seems like a weak ass case because the Power World developers made like hundreds of millions of dollars off of their game.
Yeah.
So you're suing them for $67,000. It's like that seems like a weak ass. That seems like a weak ass case to me.
Yeah.
Weak sauce, but
Yeah. It's weird. I feel like after Iwata died, Nintendo became even more litigious.
Well, yeah. I mean, like them going after emulation sites so that they could going after emulation sites for games that they aren't making anymore. Like these games aren't being commercially released. So then they can charge you for a shittier version of those games on their shitty ass Nintendo Online. Basically, $20 to $50 a year for a shoddy as fuck online service.
Yeah.
And I stand by that statement. I know, we used to have people uh, on this channel and on other channels that would defend that service. But I'm gonna say it right now. Even with the fidelity of the service going up, I still find it to be subpar compared to what we had before. That's just me. Anyway, enough about that. Next story. Sony says it should have gotten more feedback before launching Concord, but isn't done with live service games despite a certain amount of risk. Okay, so let me read this article. Sony says it should have solicited more internal and external feedback before launching Concord, the multiplayer shooter that sold so poorly the publisher canned it just 2 weeks after it launched. Next time, Sony will need, quote, more detailed confirmation or validation, unquote, that a given live service game can be successful. Executive Hiroki Totoki said during a recent Q&A with investors. quote, "We are still in the process of learning," unquote, Totoki said through a translator in response to a question about Sony's live service pursuits. Quote, "And with regard to new IP, of course, you don't know the result until you actually try it. So probably we need to have a lot of gates, including user testing, internal evaluation, and the timing of such gates. We need to bring them forward. We should have done those gates much earlier than we did." In parentheses for Concord. Sorry. Yeah. And also, we have a siloed organization. So going beyond the boundaries of that organization in terms of development and also sales, I think that could have been much smoother. End quote. Answering another question about Concord, Totoki reiterated the more gates would have allowed Sony to determine whether Concord would be accepted by users or not, and said that a need for more information is the company's main takeaway from its big service misadventure. Sorry, its big live service misadventure. Looking back, there's no doubt that getting Concord into the public hands earlier would have been wise. Its gameplay was first shown to the public just months before it launched, leaving little time for the PlayStation to reveal that actually people were not drawn to this particular hero shooter concoction. But if there are general rules like solicit feedback early that lead to multiplayer success, they're elusive. Sony also published Helldivers 2 this year for the same price as Concord, and it was an enormous success. That game wasn't quite as much of an unknown quantity when it launched. We listed it in 2023 in our 2023 most wanted list of anticipated PC games. But it was still a surprise hit for a lot of us, for a lot of its players, and wasn't preceded by a bunch of public betas. So it can't be said that lengthy listening periods are always essential. And who knows whether putting Concord in front of players earlier would have led to a successful pivot. We know now that any pivot would have been worth trying, but only in hindsight. I kind of like Concord myself. You've got to tell investors something, though, especially after spending the kind of money Sony spent on Concord. We don't have an exact figure, but aside from the game's budget, Sony acquired the studio mid-development, and after Concord bombed, promptly closed it instead of pointing the staff at something new. During a different part of the investors' calls, Totoki said that Sony's strength is in single-player games, which have a higher predictability of becoming hits, thanks to the company's proven IP. He added, however, that Sony will also continue to release live service games that pursue upside while taking on a certain amount of risk upon release. It's a lot of risk if Concord is anything to go by, but maybe a lot of upside. Pardon the corpo speak. If you look at Helldivers 2, the fastest-selling PlayStation game ever, Sony really couldn't have had a more perfectly opposed game release this year. Okay. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, it seems obvious they should have taken more time to develop the game. The problem with a lot of these companies is they want this live service game that they can just sit on top of and it just prints money.
So they want WoW.
Doesn't work that way. Yeah, they want WoW.
They want WoW and they want WoW and what's that shit from Epic? Fortnite. They want WoW and Fortnite. Not realizing in Team Fortress 2 and
those games cost a lot to maintain.
Yeah. They forget that. I mean, aside from Valve with Team Fortress 2 and what's the other one? Not SOCOM, Counter-Strike. And Counter-Strike, those games, like Valve is such a small company that they can maintain those games just by maintaining them. They're making a lot of money. Sony, Microsoft, they don't have those companies are too damn big. They can't make a game that small and just maintain it and it print money like that. They don't have the resources, they don't have the manpower, they don't have the technical and artistic know-how to pull it off. So I agree with you. I think that they fucked up. they fucked up big time. I think that there's something that Totoki didn't mention that I think people need to keep in mind. Live service games take a huge amount of time. They are a time sink. There's a level of dedication that you have to put into a live service game that you don't have to put into a single player game. Okay? For the players. Okay? So people have a finite amount of time in their day. Okay? There's 24 hours in a day. Most of the time, let's say you have a normal job, you're going to work 8 to 10 hours of your day on that job. correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say you have to drive to work. So let's say your commute is between 45 minutes to an hour one way. So that's 2 hours of your day spent driving, parking, getting to work. So that's 12 hours of your day gone. Okay? Gone. Gone making money, living life. So that you can, so for the other 6, 7, 8, 9 hours of your day, you can sleep and have a roof over your head, food in your house, something to eat, a place to sleep. If you're in a relationship, someone who you hold down enough of your not financial obligation that they're in a happy enough mood that y'all can do couple activities together. Being, I'm saying that as cleanly as I can. Okay? So at the end of your 24-hour day, you have about 2, 3, 4 hours of free time.
Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of these live service games. They're free to play, but it takes forever to really. It seems like it takes forever to get anywhere, unless you're willing to pay,
Buku
big up the
cash.
cash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
to get where you want to go to.
even if you're a pay to win player, let's say the social aspect, you're part of a guild or a club or whatever, or like a group of friends. Your friends, like, you have to synchronize your time with your friends, and you, like, even if you don't want to play, your friends are like, look, we need to do this raid tonight so that we can get achievements or this specific drop. That's still time. Live service games are a time sink.
Yeah.
People don't understand. And here's the thing: people have a limited amount of time to put into a time sink like that. Okay, they have a limited amount of time. Okay, limited, limited amount of time. Okay, I work 4 days a week. I have a 3-day weekend. I still have a limited amount of time to play video games.
Yeah.
All right, so when people, you know, these companies don't understand. Okay, if someone is a gamer and they play Team Fortress and Fortnite, that is so much of their time, so much of their gameplay time is monopolized with live service games. They don't have time to start a new one.
Yeah.
It's like these companies don't understand. People don't have time to jump onto another live service game. They don't have the time. They want to be with their friends so they can play with their friends because their friends are going to help them get over the hump.
Yeah. Exactly.
Or they've already put a certain amount of time and investment in that live service game to build their character, their profile up to a certain point where they can do certain things. They don't want to start from scratch on another one. That's where Overwatch 2 fucked up and Destiny 2 fucked up. Instead of letting people carry their progress over into the new game and putting those people on like high level servers because they're already high level and the new people start on lower level servers, they basically just scrapped everybody's shit and started everyone at zero. Not a
Yeah.
smart move.
Yeah.
But anything else you want to say, sir?
Um. Yeah. I just think there's only gonna be a couple people that make it on top when it comes to these live service games. So,
That's fair. That's fair. Um,
at least have a particular audience you're shooting for, because not everybody that, say example, not everybody that likes WoW also likes Final Fantasy 14 or
yeah,
likes Guild Wars or whatever. So
yeah.
make sure to just have a clear audience and make sure the audience is big enough and loyal enough to maintain maintain that service.
And also, I would also say differentiate your game. Like the problem with KOTOR when it first came out, sorry, Star Wars: the Old Republic was it basically was a World of Warcraft clone with a Star Wars skin,
Yeah.
and it was like for real. That's you know. So you know, hopefully things will get better, but you know, but that's just my personal opinion. Next topic. Xenoblade Chronicles X. Now, you didn't play this game. I played the shit out of it. It's the reason why when I played Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3, I was like, this is a step backwards for this franchise in terms of customization and stuff like that. But Xenoblade Chronicles X wasn't perfect. In my opinion, I think the battle system was really good, like better than the other games in the series. So, here's some things that this writer of this article, David Flynn, uh, says could be changed to make it better. So, number 10, quicker leveling to let players experience the full class system. I can agree. In the game, like, unless you did a lot of grinding, you would only master maybe one or two of the six, seven, eight classes in the game, which kind of felt um, what's the word I'm looking for? It made it an unnecessary grind to become more powerful. Now I ground the like by the time I got to the end of the game, I had mastered all the classes because I'm just the type of RPG person that I don't mind grinding because I'm old school RPG. That's what you did. You just had to grind a lot. That's just oh, this boss is tough. I got to go grind. That's how we played RPGs back in the day on PC on consoles. Um, so the number 9 players need an easier way to swap out characters. Um, I agree with that. In the game, you can only swap out characters by going to the major city in the game, the only real city in the game, and it got to be like this is getting kind of tedious. So I think that it would be good to actually have that game make it easier. Like maybe have little out. I mean, well, you could kind of have outposts in the game, but maybe you could like go to an outpost and just like swap out characters there, which would be easier. Uh, Number 8, a substantial epilogue to resolve the cliffhanger. the ending cliffhanger is kind of like what the fuck. There's no you know there's no pushing things forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just kind of leave you like, oh, okay. Like, are we ever gonna get our bodies back? How are we gonna get the hell off this planet? It's like what? And why is my character a robot? Yes, spoiler alert for a game from over a decade ago. Your main character is a robot. He's a
Yeah.
fighting robot. Your character's Mega Man. He's like, why can't you remember your past? You don't have a past. You're a super fighting robot. You're Mega Man. Number 7, players should be able to access online exclusive rewards offline. I agree. That'd be cool. Um, there were some cool offline rewards, online rewards for doing the multiplayer that made the game more interesting.
Yeah.
Um, like they weren't game changing, but they just gave you a little boost in certain aspects and for crafting, which was nice. 60 frames per second. The original game was 30 frames, and I think while I would love to have it be 60 frames per second, I think that's too much to ask for on the Switch because the Switch can barely run like Mario Odyssey would dip. The frames would dip in that game.
Yeah.
So if their flagship character doesn't get 60 frames per second solid, then don't hope for a massive RPG with like one of the biggest game worlds ever, like an entire planet. You could basically go around an entire fucking planet. Don't expect high quality there. I would like it, but I'm not expecting it. Number 5, scales could use some improving. That's true because basically, depending on the scales were so expensive, and the components to upgrade them with the equipment were so expensive that it was just cheaper. It was just better for you to upgrade your characters and make better equipment for your characters, and then just fight monsters without being in your scales. Scales were basically useless in game.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, like here's the thing. I would love to see them overhaul the scale system, but they're probably not going to do that because that means effort. And Nintendo and effort with remasters is like it's 50-50 with Nintendo and remasters. Some remasters they do, it's like, oh, this is nice. Some remasters I'm like, y'all didn't do shit, did you?
Yeah.
Number 4, a more detailed character creator. I'd be cool with that. I mean, I just made my character a black guy with a flat top, but yeah, you can do some other stuff. I mean, it's a shame they're going to get rid of. They're probably not going to include the boob slider that they had in the Japanese game because apparently in America we can't handle. Nintendo's like, oh, you can't make a female avatar with big titties. Sorry, with tig old bitties. We can't have that. You can't appreciate that. Number 3, online open world co-op is a big ask, but would be worth it. I mean, I don't personally want that because I like the game to be single player. I don't want people coming into my game doing shit, but to each his own. Playable aliens, number 2. That'd be cool. Because there's only like one alien there's like 3 aliens that join you in the game. And they're basically like, like they're party members that join you. And aside from that, they're mostly useless. It's kind of weird. And number 1 is just a bigger font. I can understand that. I played that game on my Wii U, and even on the off-screen mode where I was like playing it, where I was switching between it being on my TV and on the gamepad. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, it's that phone is pretty rough.
Yeah.
Unless you have like really good vision.
I don't. I wear glasses, but still, I was just like, come on, man, y'all gotta, But either way, I'm happy. I'm happy this game's coming out. I'll probably get it. Well, I'm not saying I definitely will get it because I like Xenoblade Chronicles X. It is my favorite Xenoblade game. I like it more than the first Xenoblade. I like it more than Xenoblade 2. I like it more than Xenoblade 3. I said that. My only problem with the game is that the level cap is, the max level is level 60. Which messes up my ability because, like I said, when I'm having a problem in video games, I grind my way out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's typically how I like to play.
What?
That's typically how I like to play.
What? Just grind your way? It's like, oh, this boss is kicking my ass. Okay, let me go to this area with slightly higher enemies I can take them, but it takes a little bit of time, but give a whole lot of experience. Let me just grind a little bit. Okay, good. Now I'm going to come back, and then you just except my thing is that normally when I play games like that, I become overpowerful, and like I remember playing Skies of Arcadia, And I remember playing, like, there's this fight you're supposed to lose. I was so high level that I was basically defeating this boss, and he wasn't doing shit. I was like, yeah, you ain't shit. Yeah, the hell with you. I was kicking his ass. I'm like, okay, well. So I had to throw the fight so that I could move on to the next story beat in the game. I don't like unwinnable fights in games. I hate that shit.
Yeah, the thing is about that sort of thing is I always I don't really get into the meta like you. I remember talking about this a couple weeks ago. Just don't get into the meta game because you have to fight the RNG and hope that you get the right equipment to boost your character stats. And it's just like, oh, okay, that's at that point it kind of just stops being fun and starts being a chore.
Please wait.
Well, I
Trainer
mean, if you're one of
activated.
those people who's into the metagame and breaking
Activated.
games, that makes it kind of fun.
Activated.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm not one of those people. Like, I'm not into, like, oh, let me break this game. I'm not into that shit.
Yeah.
But, well, no, that's not true. Depending on the game I'm playing, I'm into that.
Yeah, I would say so.
Like, if I'm playing Final Fantasy V, or a Final Fantasy Tactics game where the job system, like, you're rewarded for figuring out how to break the game.
Yeah.
Like, that literally makes the game better by you figuring out how to break the damn game. So I like stuff like that. I like the concept of like letting me do stuff like that. I like that type of stuff. But you know, to each his own. Like I like figuring out how to break a game. Uh, Not in a bad way, but in a good way. It's like, oh, well, let me figure out how I can basically, you know, bend the rules as it were. But you know, to each his own. Um Anyway, with that being said, we'll move on to the next topic, which is 8 open world games that deserve a sequel. You may have played some of these games. I know I played some of these games, and we'll talk about it. Number 8, Grim Dawn. It's a Diablo clone.
Well, I've never played that one.
Yeah, I got it on PC. It's a Diablo clone. It looks kind of aged, but it's a Diablo clone without the bullshit that goes on with Diablo these days. I actually thought it was pretty good, but you know, to each his own. Um, yeah. Number 7. Okay, Lego City Undercover. I actually like Lego City Undercover. I have it on the Wii U and the PC. I like this game. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh man, Lego City Undercover." I actually like Lego City Undercover, as I said. Lego City Undercover has you playing as the titular Chase McCain, who is a cop uh, who basically figures out, hey, um, Chase McCain, who essentially has to go and capture an escaped criminal that he put away before, but shit doesn't work out the way he wants it to, and he ultimately winds up doing some other shit, trying to become a better man, etc., etc. Um, Trying to find the love of his life, who is a girl that he likes, but he's awkward around, named Natalia. And I mean, the game is like, even though the game is designed to be for kids, the game has a lot of jokes where I'm like, okay, this is adults wrote this joke. Like, there's a part in Lego City. There are parts in Lego City Undercover where you have to use your gamepad. It's called like a crime detector device in the game to like eavesdrop on conversations in buildings so that you can find the criminals. But you can listen to other people's conversations too, and like there's jokes like where a guy's like, "Hey, honey, why do none of our kids look like me?" Get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's like, oh, okay, all right, you're going there, Lego City. Okay, cool. I would love for there to be a sequel to this game, preferably with a bigger city and less, because the limitations of it being a Wii U game kind of held it back. But I would love to see this game get a sequel, because there is a prequel that was on the 3DS that was trash, but a sequel would be great.
Yeah.
Number 6, Vampire. It's a vampire game set in 1918 London during the Spanish flu epidemic, where a lot of people died. And Dr. Jonathan Reed is a vampire. Yeah.
What game is this?
Vampire. Spelled Vampyr. Vampire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember people talking about this game and saying that the RPG mechanics were pretty cool. The combat was shit. So, for me, like the top of the line of vampire action RPGs will always be Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. So if you can't reach close to that, then I'm kind of like skeptical. But this is this guy's list. He's sticking with it. Number 5, Sleeping Dogs. Sleeping Dogs, aka Chinese GTA. Square Enix canceled the game due to disappointing sales of the first game, but I actually liked Sleeping Dogs. People tried to compare it to GTA 5 and GTA 4, but I personally think Sleeping Dogs is more like a more actiony Yakuza, except with cars. Because in Yakuza, you don't really have cars. Like, their cars exist, and in some of the games you can drive, but it's not the same thing. Now, funny story. This game originally began as a sequel to True Crime, and Activision sold the rights, sold the assets to Square Enix, and they just called it something different. So I don't know, man. I would rather have had another True Crime versus Sleeping Dogs, but whatever.
Yeah.
True Crime being the first game was it was a video game that was an homage to those 80s cop films. Badass cop who takes no rules and does what he needs to do in order to get the job done. And it basically played out like that. And I love the original True Crime. The sequel was rushed and it was very buggy. Back in a time where you couldn't patch games to be fixed after they launched. So I had that game on GameCube and it was a buggy piece of shit. It was ambitious, but it was very buggy. Number 4, The Saboteur. You want to play an Irish guy in Nazi-occupied Paris killing Nazis in World War II? The Saboteur. I have it on PC. It's all right. Number 3, Maneater. It's basically Jaws the video game.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to be a giant shark eating the shit out of people who shouldn't have had their ass in the water in the first place? There you go. Maneater. Number 2, Days Gone. I heard a lot of people like this game. I never played it because I'm just tired of zombies. Movies, video games. I'm tired of zombies, but a lot of people like it. Number one, Mad Max. I personally don't want to play a Mad Max video game. Not because I'm against Mad Max, but because I like a Mad Max video game. I just find the IP to be very depressing. Because remember, the Mad Max franchise is about a world where society fell apart completely.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to play a game where I play a former police officer who's in a world where society has fallen apart completely and everything's fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to play a game in that world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the twist is pretty depressing too.
What twist?
I think that game has a twist. I don't remember the I don't really remember the well, I've heard people talk about it. I heard there's a very there's a bit of a twist. I might actually be wrong about this. I might be thinking of something else where I think his wife dies in the first game, and then you find out that the main character is the one who killed his wife or something like that.
What?
I might be. Wait, Mad Max. Oh,
The video game, not the
I'm
movie.
thinking of a different game. I'm thinking of Max Payne.
Oh yeah, yeah. Max Payne is a completely different yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mad
I got
Max,
this thinking. I got the because I was
yeah.
thinking of Max. Yeah,
Max
I got
Payne
those
versus
differences.
Mad. I can understand that. Yeah, Mad Max is the game where it's like the first movie is called the Road Warrior. Because
Yeah,
in
yeah.
America we got the second movie first, but it's really
Oh,
supposed to go the Road Warrior, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, and then Fury Road, and then Furiosa.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's set in post-apocalyptic future where like something happened to society, like fuel. There was a war. Fuel became prohibitively expensive and downright impossible to get your hands on. The societal things that are law and order broke down, and it just became every man for himself. And
yeah,
the only order that could be maintained was with warlords. And Max just becomes, like, oh god, this is getting into film theory. The interesting thing about Mad Max, the original trilogy, is that in the Road Warrior, Mad Max is initially like he's a police officer.
yeah,
And he's wearing his uniform. It's crisp. He's got his interceptor, and society has begun to break down. But he's still a police officer trying to maintain the law. And then his family's murdered, and he basically gets his car and he upgrades it and changes it out to turn it into a weapon, and his outfit becomes more militarized, more rough. And in the second film, his car is even more militarized and his outfit is even more degraded. And by the third movie, his car doesn't even look like it used to, and his outfit, his uniform is almost gone. And as the trappings of civilization that he used to cling to fall apart, the world around him falls apart even more. It's the reason why in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, and Blaster Master's brother, his helmet comes off, and he finds out like he's like the lady trying to do a power play. She's like, kill him. He's like, I'm not gonna kill him, because he finds out he's special needs. He's like got Down syndrome. He's a Down syndrome guy. He's like, I'm not gonna do that, because he remembers before everything fell apart. You don't do that.
yeah,
Civilization, the part of him that's still civil, like this, you don't. There's some shit you don't do. you know. So Mad Max is actually a really fucking brilliant franchise. If you ever get a chance, just watch the original trilogy. It's kind of rough. There's some violence in it that I'm like, ugh. But the evolution of the character and how that world just falls apart, and how it's very much kind of reflected in Max Rakatanksky's outfit, like how his outfit begins to fall apart, is very interesting. Um,
Wasn't the original made like in the 80s or something?
1979.
1979. Yeah.
Yeah, his name is Max Rakatansky.
Oh.
Yeah. I was looking up the right name. It's Max Rakatansky.
Yeah.
I just mispronounced it. So basically, yeah. So Mad Max is it's a brilliant franchise. It's really good, and I like it. I like it. It's vicious. It's like really that first film has got some violence to it. Where it's like, God damn, like for real. And Mad Max 2 is good too.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about that. Let's keep it moving. Next topic. The Wii U gets the last laugh. Now I hate being right, but I was right. So basically, the Wii U gets the last laugh. The Wii U, a console with a screen in its controller, lasted just 4 years. The Switch is on its eighth. Its run ended so badly that Nintendo sold less than 800,000 of them in the console's final 12 months of release. But the Wii U has charted an unusual comeback, as Nintendo has repackaged one of its first-party Wii U games after another for the Switch, selling more copies with each recycling effort. Mario Kart 8 sold 8.5 million copies on the Wii U. How cute. Its deluxe reissue for the Switch has sold 64.3 million copies on Nintendo's newer system.
Yeah.
New Super Mario Bros. U on the Wii U clocked in at 5.8 million copies. Nintendo brought it to the Switch years later, bundled with new Super Luigi U, 3.1 million copies on Wii U, and the combo release on the new system sold 17.8 million copies. In 2021, the Wii U had proven to be the Switch's secret weapon. Wii U games kept the Switch loaded with new releases, technically new if you skip Wii U releases, and Nintendo wasn't done. Earlier this month, the company promised another repackaged Wii U game, Xenoblade Chronicles X, for an expanded Switch port this coming March. But if the Wii U legacy was just that it was reborn on the Switch, you wouldn't have today's piece. Tuesday night, something new happened. While the blue wall was falling in America, Nintendo announced a big update about the successor to the Switch. It would be backwards compatible with the existing Switch. Great news for Switch owners who wouldn't have to abandon or rebuy new versions of their Switch games. Great news for Nintendo stock, apparently. So basically, yeah, man. Nintendo, all those re-releases that we used to get mad at Microsoft and Sony about, Nintendo's doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I was saying this back in 2017 when Breath of the Wild got Game of the Year. It's like Wii U got the last laugh. You know, it's like, and seeing all these games get ported over, it's like, Nintendo's like, we know these games are good. They reviewed pretty well. They sold pretty well on the Wii U. That obviously the audience is much smaller, but like we could double, triple, quadruple that audience on the Switch.
Why not? It's not like, here's the thing that people forget, like, and people like to talk shit about the Wii U and all that shit. The Wii U was not a bad system.
Yeah,
I know that's a
this is for
hard concept
America.
for people to understand. Don't let the propaganda fool you. The Wii U was not a weak system.
Yeah.
It was an astonishingly good system. There were legitimately very good games for that system. The problem is that the problem was that people were essentially that game was buried by a lot of bad publicity. That system was buried under a lot of bad publicity. Like a lot of really bad fucking publicity. It was like, oh, this is terrible. It's like, okay, why is it bad? Explain to me why this game is bad. And they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a weak system. Because all the arguments that they made about every argument they made every argument they made about the Wii U, you have to make that same argument about the Switch.
Yeah.
The Switch is a weak ass console. Games are missing off of the system. And first party games run like shit on it. First party games. I don't mean some shit that they don't care about. I mean shit that they should be like, yeah, there's a valid reason why this should be a higher level. It isn't.
Yeah.
You know, but you mention that to people, they get angry. They're like, "Oh, why'd you say that?" It's true. As a matter of fact, there are games that have been re-released on the Switch that were on the Wii U that run better on the Wii U than they do on the Switch.
Yeah.
Think about that. And I mean, I don't want to put the kibosh on anything, but I guarantee you that the more often, probably more likely than not, that the Switch version of Xenoblade Chronicles X is probably going to run not that well on the Switch. Probably will run like shit.
Maybe. We'll see.
People get mad when you say that. Like, don't say that. It's true though. Have we seen a re-release that ran better on the Switch than it does on the
Original hardware?
than its previous console? Because I haven't.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think there has been necessarily. I think a lot of these ports, combination of the hardware and just some of these ports being somewhat quick and dirty.
I'm gonna say it's the hardware.
Yeah, I'd say it's more the hardware as well.
Because I mean, you know, you can be like, well, the Switch is this system runs poorly. I'm like, eh. But that's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, enough about that. Anything you want to add before we get to the last two segments?
No, no, I'm good.
All right. So the last two segments are free topic and unpopular opinion. Do you have um, anything you'd like to add?
Uh,
Before we move on to the final segments. Sorry.
oh no, I don't have anything to add.
All right. So now we're on to free topic and hot takes, aka unpopular opinion. Free topic is the section we're going to start with first. Segment we're going to start with first. This is where we basically bring up a topic, video game or pop culture related, that it's like people need to talk about. No one said anything about. Do you have any free topics, video game wise, or that you're like, man, I need to say something. No one said anything about this. Why are people ignoring this?
Apparently scalpers are they're hurting now that because the PS5 Pros are not moving, so
Yeah, because
I
people
need to
have no
find them
incentive
easy.
to buy a PS5 Pro.
Yeah, it's too much freaking money. They're asking way too much for that freaking thing. Way too goddamn much.
I mean, they're asking a lot for something that is functionally missing features. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't have an optical drive, a Blu-ray drive.
Yeah.
So you can't even really use it as, like, I know with streaming people don't really use physical media that more, but people like to have the option. You know, you can't even do that. I'm like, well, what fucking use is it? It's like when Nintendo
Well,
released the Wii Mini. Remember the Wii Mini that didn't
yeah.
have online Wi-Fi support, so you couldn't even use it to play Mario. It came with Mario Kart 7, Mario Kart Wii, whichever one that is, Mario Kart Wii. It came with Mario Kart Wii, but it didn't have Wi-Fi support, so you could play Mario Kart Wii online.
Yeah.
It's like, what type of stupid ass shit is this?
And another thing is it's like, how is the console that costs $200 less have an optical drive, but the console that costs $200 more doesn't? That makes no sense.
Well, because it's cost reduced. It's
I
all
guess
it's
so.
all it's all cost reduced. That's why they took the drive out, because they probably were losing money. They probably were losing money or not making all that much money by including all that extra hardware. And they probably looked at the numbers and said most people are not using these optical drives as optical drives. They probably are doing other shit with it. So, I mean, I understand what was going on. I'm just saying, like, in business there's certain things that are sunk costs. It's like, yes, having people having a open water soda fountain is a money loss, but people expect it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Depending on the style of restaurant. So you just have to, it's a sunk cost. Having decent toilet paper in your bathrooms in a business is a sunk cost. You're not going to make money off of that. But it's a sunk cost. You can't have toilet paper that's so damn thin people can hold it up and look through it like it's a damn magnifying glass.
Well, the thing is, it's just funny you call your console a pro console and it's
It's
missing
missing features.
features.
Yeah, yeah. Pro typically means that it has features that aren't available on other. Like if you have a Mustang GT, which is their pro version, or a Shelby, which is the pro version of a Mustang, it has features that don't exist on the base models. Not
Yeah.
vice versa. The base model shouldn't have features that shouldn't have more features than the pro model. That's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's Sony for you. You know, like people keep on forgetting Sony is perpetually about one or two flops away from being fucked.
Yeah. They're not doing well.
Don't listen to the fanboys. Oh man, Sony's great. If you say so, I'm not gonna say that because I don't believe it, and also I know how to look at investment reports. But anything else you want to add, sir?
No, that's it.
All right, so guess we'll go to the final little bit, which is unpopular opinion. So, unpopular opinion is the part where we give a, well, unpopular opinion or a hot take. Something where someone's like, I disagree, or it's something that someone really doesn't want to talk about or think about, but we gonna say it anyway. Here's my unpopular opinion. It's about video games. Um, it's about movies. So, so basically, movie theaters aren't doing all that well as of late because they've been making some very bad decisions. Very bad decisions. Like, there was no one at the wheel. And the thing that I've been able to ascertain is that no one, you know, no one wants to take any risk. They're risk averse, not realizing that the reason Hollywood was able to make good stuff is that someone took a risk. So, ironically, you have to take risks in order to succeed. Yes, you might fail, but you mitigate risk by basically mitigating the amount of budget you put towards that risk. So, even if it does fail, you're not busted, but you got to take risks in order to succeed. That's life. So, with that being said, that's all I had to say. Do you have any hot takes? Anything where you're like, man,
Um,
shit, I got an unpopular opinion. I gotta share this. I'm tired of keeping
I'm
it on
just
my chest.
I'm just reminded how stupid review scores are, and I think it's time that the industry start moving on from them. Uh, IGN rolled back their review score for Dragon Age Vanguard,
I mean,
um,
Veilguard.
Veilguard.
Why? Because it's not selling well.
I guess so. Some reason,
I mean,
but
what? I think that game had a decent budget, and I think it sold what 3 million. They wanted to have Baldur's Gate numbers, and I'm like, that's unrealistic. Because Dragon Age was never a huge franchise. Even
yeah,
though EA tried their damnedest to make it to, they dumbed it down to where it's not even close to what it used to be, and it's still not a huge franchise. Um, I agree. Review scores should go the way of the dodo. I don't think reviews should go. I think review scores should go. Instead of having a score, you should have to read a fucking review. Okay, whether it be a 5 paragraph essay or a 3 paragraph essay, there should be an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. And if you
yeah,
want, and you know what, and have a score at the end and tell them why you gave it the score you did.
yeah,
Like, don't just give it a score. Give it a justification of why you gave it that score. Like, well, I gave it that score because ABC. It's kind of like when you were in school and your teacher gave you your paper, and then you would see the score, and then you go up and say, "Well, why did I get this score?" And then the teacher would explain their methodology behind you not doing well on that paper, you doing well. It's like, well, look at all these spelling errors, or this is a run-on sentence. Like, don't just fucking give me a number and then be like, yeah, it's a 70 out of 100. It's like, whatever, dude. Anyway, that's my opinion. I agree with your opinion, sir. Anything you'd like to pimp out before we wrap things up? I know you have your music channel.
Yeah, music channel to music on Project Open Mic. Um, Check it out. Most recent song is Will We Live to See the Sun? Um, so I try to upload about every week, every other week, sometime sometime around something something like that schedule wise,
All right.
and do a cast every once in a while. Probably gonna lean back from doing the cast. Just not as motivated about it as I used to be.
All right.
So
Okay. Cool. 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 Well, I'm gonna try to get back on. Me personally, I'm gonna try and get back on to trying to have a cast every week. I will not be having a cast on the 27th, however, not because of any big thing. It's because I'm gonna be covering for one of someone I work with, and I've got business things to do, so that's gonna be fun. I will be having a cast on the 20th, however, so well, there's always some shit going on in gaming, so we'll have something to talk about. That's the end of the cast. Rate, comment, share, play your games, subscribe, etc., etc. Um, Peace and good night. Um, if you would like to get in touch with the cast, you can reach me via Gmail. It's in the description of this channel, or the Discord, which is also in the description of this channel. Um, if you would like to get in touch with Kenoshi, I don't know if he has any social media, but you can definitely reach his music channel. That's a good way to reach him.
yeah.
That's the end of the cast. Rate, comment, share, subscribe, play your games. Peace.